Lions TV, we are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors that you can see on the screen right now. If you are going to do a bit of business in the final furlong that is the shit show of 2020, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below. This is your post-match analysis video for yesterday's 1-1 draw against Neil Harris's Cardiff City at the Den. As always, let's start out by taking a look at the 11 that Gary Rowett picked to start the match. So the gaffer did it. He played a flat back four, which allows us then to play a 10 in behind a striker, and I think it worked a lot better for us, although we didn't obviously win the game. It was Bodvarrson in goal, Ryan Leonard in for the injured Marlon Romeo at right back, Jake Cooper and Sean Hutchinson, the central defence pairing, Murray Wallace left back, Sean Williams and Ryan Woods played in a central midfield role with Ben Thompson in a 10, Mason Bennett on the left, Jeb Wallace on the right, and up front, Matt Smith was chosen to start the game. Of course, we had an absolute vast array of substitutions available. Now, the rules are changing. You can go to 5 subs per game, which could come in handy considering the amount of injuries that we now have piling up. Yeah, for me, it's really as good as you could get. Obviously, Marlon Romeo out injured. Billy Mitchell, who would have probably covered there if fit, still injured. So Ryan Leonard played at right back, and I thought he did quite well. The game was not a great one in the first half. Not a very good spectacle. The second half livened right up, and we'll get onto that shortly. But the game started out, and it was just, again, it was just a bit of nothingness, really, for me. And Kenny summed it up perfectly in the in his post-match video, where he said, "I don't give a fuck about stats and clean sheets. It's fucking boring." And I've got to agree with him. And again, I don't know if I'm being too critical of Millwall, too critical of football in general. Is it because there's no fans there? Surely must be playing a part, but it's just not very entertaining to watch. And I used to ask this question a lot when Neil Harris was manager. Ironically, we was facing the Neil Harris side. What are they doing in training all week? Because we don't seem to have any ideas going forward. If Jed isn't firing, as I've said a million times before, we don't produce the goods. Conor Mahoney, obviously not in the squad, out injured, allegedly. Someone said on my live stream that he left the ground on crutches. So the injuries are starting to pile up. Of course, Mason Bennett went off in the game injured as well, and he didn't look happy at all, Mason Bennett, when he went off. So problems could arise. January transfer window is definitely going to have to be an option now for us due to the vast amount of games we've got coming up over the festive period. But as I said, the game for me just had a bit of nothingness, really, in the first half. The only shot on target before the goal was a long-distance effort from Ryan Woods, who somehow managed to sneak into the opposition's half. And yeah, you know, we kept the ball well. We do retain the ball well. But we do this time and time again. We retain the ball. We're in an advanced position. We're in the opposition, you know, in and around their penalty area. And then we'll keep the ball 10, 15 passes. It's beautiful. But it ends up half time, 9 times out of 10, it ends up back with Bodvarrson or back with Hutchinson or Cooper. So definitely need more ideas going forward. As I said, I know Ben Thompson missed that one for 2-0, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But I thought he did very, very well. He was a nuisance. He pestered the players. He kept making these runs where he was running in from the blind side of his defender and getting in behind and winning free kicks high up the pitch. And I thought Ben Thompson, the miss aside, had a very, very good game. But yeah, there's just not enough players having blinders at the minute. I thought, this will be an unpopular opinion as well, that Sean Williams played very well in the first half. Of course, he had a hand in the goal. But that aside, I just feel that, and I'm not saying he's better than Ryan Woods, you know, back in the day, maybe. But now, as we know, he's coming to the end of his playing career. I'm just not having Woods. I'm sorry. I know people are going to call me a prick in the comments, but I'm just not having him. It just doesn't affect a football match. Yes, he's very good technically on the ball. I've said it a million times. He won't cross the halfway line, really. He doesn't break up play. He is a distributor, but because we're so bad going forward, it's a bit lost on us almost, you know. His brilliant balls are good, but they're 30 yards too back further down the pitch from me. Whereas Sean Williams was doing the Woods stuff, but further up the pitch in areas that can actually hurt the opposition. I've said it time and time again. They're going to let you have it in them areas, teams. They're going to let you knock the ball to the right back, to the left back, and just play 20 yards sideways passes. It looks brilliant, you know, and his pass completion rate must be superb, but it's not affecting a football match. And I feel that in the first half, Sean Williams definitely did that better. Having said all that, I've criticised our attacking play. The back four again, especially Murray Wallace and especially Cooper and Hutchinson, were absolutely superb. And of course, our player of the year, our almost saviour at times, Bodvarrson, absolutely superb. But they was untroubled in the first half, really. I remember the Glatzel, the number 9, got the ball on the edge of the box, turns Hutchinson, but Hutchinson gets a brilliant block and he sends it over the bar. And other than that, Cardiff didn't have a sniff. It was one of them games where it was always going to be a bit more of a chess, a bit more of a tactical ball game because, as we know, Neil Harris signed, I don't know how many of the starting lineup he did sign of our players, but the majority of them. So he knows the players, but we know how Harris likes to play. So it cancelled each other a bit out, and it was for that reason, I think, on top of the standard not being very good, that the game was headed for a 0-0 towards half-time. However, we get the breakthrough. Ryan Woods plays it sideways to Murray Wallace, and eventually Murray Wallace plays it to Sean Williams. Sean Williams hangs up an absolutely inch-perfect cross. The goalkeeper, some people were saying during our live stream, and I've seen it on social as well, that, you know, they're blaming the goalkeeper. If Bart let that in, I'd be pissed off. But what you are going to say is it was the goalkeeper didn't know where to come or go, and that's because Williams put it in such a perfect area. And if you stick them chances in for Matt Smith, he will score goals. Mason Bennett did nothing in the game, and that is why, you know, he didn't get any supply. Jed put a few nice crosses in, and Jed now was at an unbelievable level, and now he's just back to everyone else's normal level. I didn't think Jed had a bad game at all. He put some nice crosses in. He tried his best. He wasn't super Jed, but I think we need to realise that Super Jed may have been Super Duper Jed for a while, and now he's going to go back to just being normal Jed. That is the same standard as the rest of the team. So, yeah, we go 1-0 up, and we protect our lead till half-time. And again, you know, it's a good goal, a good move, good football, great cross into the box. Matt Smith does what he does best and gets on the end of crosses. And we go into half-time, 1-0 up against a team who's expected to do well this year in this division, that did well in this division last year, of course, losing in the playoffs, that have got bags of talent in Hoylett and in Harry Wilson and in Kiefer Moore, by the way, who I wanted us to sign a couple of times. And I think yesterday he showed that, for those saying before when I said I wanted to sign Kiefer Moore, those saying he's just a younger version of Matt Smith, he definitely isn't. No disrespect to Matt Smith, but Kiefer Moore was an absolute nuisance all afternoon. He was when he played us last year when he was at Wigan. He don't just win balls in the air, he plucks balls out of the air and brings them down and plays and brings people in. He's powerful, he can run direct at the goal, as he proved with his goal, just like Kenneth Zohor did previously for Cardiff when he was at the club. So we go in at half-time, as I said, 1-0 up, without really playing that well. But then again, am I expecting too much? We're 1-0 up against Cardiff. Our old manager is the manager. Again, he knows a lot of our players. They've got a lot of talent. They're expected to go back up or be in around it. And we're little old Millwall 1-0 up at half-time. So you couldn't really, again, at half-time, argue with the outcome. So, okay, we move into the second half, and I'm just going to criticise myself here before I go any further, because at the end of the game, I was raging, I was fuming, I was jumping up and down, I was moaning about Bodvarrson, I was moaning about other things, but ultimately, that's what I've been fucking asking for, a little bit of excitement for my £10 that I paid to iFollow. So I can't really, on reflection, complain. And when I think about how the second half made me feel as a fan watching it, that's all the emotions you want to feel as a fan, as a paying fan of the club and of someone that loves the club. You want to feel all those emotions. And the second half, on reflection, okay, it wasn't a brilliant outcome for us, but entertainment-wise, it was brilliant, and it made me feel every emotion. If you watched our live stream, you would have seen that. So we started the second half, and we actually played better in the second half than we did in the first, despite eventually conceding our lead to Cardiff. And it's a brilliant chance. Jed Wallace, fantastic ball. He's on an absolute plate for Ben Thompson. And Ben Thompson, first of all, I was trying to be kind in real time. I thought, he's quite short. Maybe he's slightly above him. Maybe he's mistimed his run. Maybe it's come from behind a player. Maybe he was under pressure. It was none of those things. And Tomo, I thought he was superb yesterday. And I want him to keep his place going forward. But he's got to score that. He was unchallenged. The ball from Jed was perfect. He timed his run perfectly. He timed his jump perfectly. But he's just got under the ball. Like he's trying to deliberately head it over the bar. I know he wasn't trying to deliberately head it over the bar. But he let that affect him. And straight after that, when we should have been 2-0 up, he gets a chance to break. He gets a chance to slot in. I think it was Mason Bennett, and it was a simple pass, and he's messed that one up. And also 2 chances within 5 minutes for Ben Thompson. He hasn't taken that. Again, for those who online say he isn't good enough, he isn't up to his standard, I completely disagree. He had a bit of a wobble. He had a funny 5 minutes. But that aside, Ben Thompson did it under Neil Harris, helped keep us in the division. And he's done it under Gary Rowett when he's had the chance. And for me, he's got a lot to offer at his club. Millwall player, Millwall fan. I know that shouldn't play a part, but you can just see he really fucking wants it when he's out there. And he'll do anything he can to make sure the team do the business other than miss headers from 3 yards. So those 2 chances go begging. And as always, you're always going to get punished. Cardiff start to slightly come back into the game, but still not a lot. And all the action, really, all the drama was towards the very, very end of the game. Something Gary Rowett got wrong for me yesterday was Mason Bennett goes down injured. And again, listen, I rate Bennett, I've backed Bennett. But ultimately, and I've said this before as well, in my live stream yesterday. I've overlooked a massive factor during doing these videos, during the whole time of doing Lions TV. I've overlooked a massive factor, and that is fitness. Jake Cooper, yes, he's brilliant. Yes, we don't take him for granted, but he's constantly fit. Jed Wallace is constantly fit. Ryan Woods is constantly fit. Murray Wallace is constantly fit. And you can be the best player in the fucking world, but if you can't stay fit, it's no good to no one. And Mason Bennett, he's slowly starting to get on my tits a little bit. And it's a shame to say it because I backed him on the channel. If you look back at my old videos, I've criticised you lot for having to go at him, saying give him a chance, give him a chance. But he didn't look good again yesterday. He is completely wasted on the left. Left is not his position. He needs to play on a 10, in my opinion. But he's gone down injured and we've taken him off. And we've ended up bringing on Scott Malone. Now, I like Scott Malone, but he's not a left attacking winger. And I don't know why we did that. And it's through Scott Malone's wayward pass. I don't know what he was aiming at, by the way. Very basic. You know, if you can't see anything good, just keep it or hit line. And he's played it crossfield straight into the path of someone else that wasn't our player. He's gone on a run. He's slotted a gap in between Hutchinson and Cooper. And obviously that's a very rare gap, but they've been caught out of position by a situation they wasn't expecting to happen. Kiefer Moore takes the ball, powerful run into the box. Cooper chases him, gives it everything he's got, throws his body on the line. And Moore probably would have gone in, probably would have hit the target, but he gets a touch off the underside of Cooper's boot and flies past Bolkowski. And it's 1-1. And after that, it just seemed like all the energy was sapped out of Millwall. It was all Cardiff. And I predicted a 2-1 Cardiff win pre-match. So at that point, I was hoping I was definitely not going to be top of the Lions TV prediction leaderboard. And then so after that, it was for a neutral, it's brilliant. On reflection, it was brilliant. As I said, I predicted a 2-1 Cardiff win. So I absolutely would have took a 1-1 draw before the game. But chance after chance after chance for Cardiff and for us, especially literally the last pattern of play in the game. But got to say, Bart Bolkowski, fucking hell, listen, he can't keep the ball. His distribution isn't great, but I don't care. What a shot stopper, what a goalkeeper. Our player of the year last season, and I slowly think that he could be coming our player of the year already this season. A brilliant save from Harry Wilson, a cutback from the touchline. I mark Harry Wilson as a danger man, the Liverpool loanee, and he's hit it from 3-4 yards. Is that exaggerating? I honestly think it was 3-4 yards out. Point blank, Bolkowski just moves his foot and saves it. 5 minutes later, cross into the box. Kiefer Moore, brilliant header. Bolkowski plucks one out the top corner. And it's all Cardiff. I really thought they was gonna get the win. And on reflection of the game, you know, they could have won the game. But again, we should have been out of sight with the Thompson thing and a couple of other chances that we did have. So, last pattern of play literally comes in the box. Oh, there was a Murray Wallace clearance off the line that I forgot to tell you about. But the last corner, resulting from Bolkowski's save, comes across, and I thought he's there on a plate for the Cardiff player. He doesn't head it. He lets it run over his head almost. I don't know if he's getting tracked and worrying about the man that was marking him. But I think it's Hutchinson that clears it to Wallace. Wallace knocks it square to someone else. I'm screaming to Troy Parrott because he's offside. Troy Parrott leaves it for John Daddy Bodvarrson. John Daddy Bodvarsson's got a clear run on goal. So much time to think about, almost too much time to think about. The goalkeeper comes out and makes his life even easier because all Daddy's got to do is slot it on the ball, slot it on the floor. Sorry, I'm still fuming talking about it. Slot it on the floor, straight past him. And he goes left foot, he goes high, and he goes wide. And I've absolutely done my bollocks. Well, I might as well show you. Crossed in, away. What the fuck happened there? It looked to me, for all the world, it was just an easy head-in. Just a basic head-in. Leave it, Parrott. Leave it. Go on, Bodvarrson, you're in. Go on, Daddy. You fucking idiot. Ah! He's fucking useless. Fuck off. Bodvarrson, what are you doing? Yes, there you go. There was my reaction from the live stream. There was more choice words after that. I cut it off there and put that out on social as well to be nice to a point. Let's talk about this. John Daddy Bodvarrson. Right. Listen, I know he's not good enough. I've said it non-stop. But I'm going to defend Bodvarrson here because it is not his fault he is playing. Right? It's not his fault that he got chosen. He's a professional footballer. They got bought by Neil Harris, by the way, for 700 grand. We could delve into that, but then if we flip on that, we've also got to look at the other side of the coin. That we also bought, Harris also bought Bolkowski, Hutchinson and Cooper all in total for about 1.5 million. So you can't knock the previous gaffer's transfer dealings. But Bodvarrson, I've been saying it for a long time, he's not up to the standard of football. But he can only do what he can do if he's put on the pitch, and he shouldn't be anywhere near it. However, in Gary Rowett's defence, Gary Rowett didn't buy Bodvarrson. Gary Rowett didn't buy Matt Smith, and he didn't buy Tom Bradshaw. So what he did do, he let Aidan O'Brien go, and then he freed up some wages somewhere else, and he brought in Troy Parrott. Troy Parrott gets injured. So, okay, we're going to get Ken Zohore. 2 good Premiership loanee strikers. Zohore, absolute stinker, scores 1. Out probably now for the rest of his loan period at the club. So, yes, we're not scoring enough goals. By the way, we've only scored 15 goals in our last 15 home league games, with only 3 of those as wins, and 4 of those goals was against Huddersfield in the last day of the season. So, it's glaringly obvious with our defensive record, if we could score goals, we'd be in a lot better position than we are. But you can't really blame Rowett. You can't even really blame him for... Well, you could, but would Bradshaw have missed that? I don't know. Would George Alexander have missed that? I don't know. This is a point I made yesterday in my live stream, and I wasn't, saying it's got to be George Alexander. For me, it should have been, or if not, Bradshaw and Alexander on the bench. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But what I'm saying is this: whether it was George Alexander, whether it was Isaac Alafa, who's currently on loan at Sutton, who scored a hat-trick the other day, whether it's Tyler Berry, whether it's any one of these players, I would rather one of those players miss that opportunity and learn from it and gain experience from it and from being around the first team than John Daddy Bodvarrson, who I'm sure's contract is up this summer. I fucking hope it is. And he leaves the club. So he's got no future at Millwall, John Daddy Bodvarrson. And listen, this isn't a John Daddy Bodvarrson slaughterhouse show. John Daddy Bodvarrson, Yuri Skalak, and probably Shane Ferguson. We know they're going to be on their way out of the club. Their contracts are running up, I believe, and they're probably not going to figure. And again, after Millwall, Ryan Leonard included, Ryan is doing all right. He might get a new contract. But let's focus on Bodvarrson and Skalak. They're not going to get new contracts. When their contracts are up, they're going to go. Where are they going to go? They're going to go lower league. So I don't understand why we are still using Bodvarrson when we're in a good position in the league. We've got other options. Get the youngsters in. I'm not saying they're the answer. I'm not saying they'll be successful. You get them in, they could be shit. I don't know. You won't know until you try it. But they definitely are a better option. Get them in, get them experience. And if George Alexander runs through and misses that, it doesn't matter. He's young. He'll learn from it. By the way, I honestly don't think George would have missed that. And I'm not making this, as I said, George versus Dad Bod competition. I'm saying anyone, Tyler Berry, who I don't even really rate, but get him in and let him make them mistakes instead of Bodvarrson, who's got no future in the club. Again, on another point, Ben Thompson's miss was worse than John Daddy Bodvarsson's, in my opinion. Some may agree, some may disagree, but it's my show and that's what I've said. If you don't agree, feel free to let me know in the comments. I feel that Thompson's was a worse miss and it could have killed the game off. But Bodvarsson's seemed worse because it was last minute. But I think the reason, me personally, why I've not been critical of Thompson, and I have, overcritical, I did criticise him for missing the chance. Ben Thompson's got something to offer. He brings something to the table. And it's not because he's a Millwall fan. He has got something to offer his team. He's been there, he's done it. He helped keep us in the division. He's been around it during promotion. And for me, I still think he can do a job in this division. John Daddy Bodvarrson doesn't offer us anything. So when he misses chances like that, it frustrates me more because I know he shouldn't really be out there. But listen, apparently he was getting absolutely caned on Twitter. I don't know. For my own mental health, I don't often look on Twitter, I just post. But he's had to come off social media yesterday. And I don't agree with that, people abusing him. As I said, he's just doing his job at the end of the day. And he isn't up to the standard of football. But if you get offered a job, you get bought by a club, you get asked to play, he'd be a prick if he said he didn't want to play. So, unlucky, John Daddy. I'm sorry, but hopefully you go on to have a brilliant career elsewhere. You scored 2 against Oxford previously in the League Cup a couple of years ago. And I'm sure you're a lovely bloke. But you're not good enough for the standard of football. So hopefully... he'll go on elsewhere and he'll do a good thing. But we need to bear in mind, Cardiff, big side, came close last year. Big stars in their side, whether we like or not. Harry Wilson, Liverpool loanee, Hoylett, Kiefer Moore, all these players get bought for a lot more money than we can pay. And they're expected to do big things. And we walk away with a point. But again, at the same time, looking at these stats and clean sheets and not many goals conceded, but not many goals scored and 3 home wins in the league out of the last 15, I just really want entertainment. And in the last second half yesterday, I'll be honest, I felt I got it. So that's your lot for this post-match analysis video. I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. There is a quiz tonight on Patreon. If you're not a Patreon member, you can become a Patreon. We've been doing score predictions on Patreons for giveaways, and no one's been able to get it for the last 3 or 4, and the prizes are piling up. So if you want to become a Patreon, there is the link to do so. You get every Lions Lounge Lockdown video on early release. All videos that have previously been put up as bonus content are available, and you get 1 quiz a month. I'll be back for a pre-match prediction for Reading on Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'll be going to watch the under-23s at home at Kelmont Road. I think they're playing Colchester on Tuesday. In between Tuesday and Wednesday and kick-off time against Reading, when there's another live stream, I will be tying down Tony Craig for a Lions Lounge lockdown. And then on Thursday, of course, you'll get your Reading post-match, but you're also going to get your pre-match for our next game, which I can't even remember who it is because there's so many videos and not enough days to do them. So, short story, very fucking long. There's plenty of content coming out this week on Lions TV. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.